Starting off our list at number 10, Link and Marin. The shipping of Link and Marin's relationship, similar to other ships on this list, is derived from a whole lot of subtext. Marin, a young villager, first appears in Link's awakening, when she saves Link on the Toronto shores after he was shipwrecked. Afterwards, there's several moments that fans felt implied some sort of chemistry between Marin and our hero, or at least an affection on Marin's part. When they share a moment on the cliff overlooking the sea, Marin says the cliff should be their secret place. She also confesses that she wants to know everything about him. And to top it all off, after Link rescues her on the bridge at the Telltale Mountains, she's about to confess something to him when her father interrupts. Missed opportunity or unrequited love? In at number 9, Link and Saria. Here we've got a ship of what could have been. Saria is the one who gives Link the fairy ocarina in the Ocarina of Time, and tells him to play it so that he will think of her and decide to return to the forest. Then, when he's an adult after completing the forest temple, Mido gives Link a message. She says, I quote, "I made a promise to Saria. If Link came back, I would be sure to tell him that Saria had been waiting for him, because Saria really liked ... Doesn't finish the sentence. Ah, the one that got away. In at number 8, Link and Ilia. Ilia first appeared in Twilight Princess and is the daughter of Mayor Bow. If you thought the relationship between Marin and Link was jacked full of subtext, well, the ship between him and Ilia is pretty much just based on warm smiles to one another. He finds her taking care of Epona, so what does he do? He smiles. Wolf Link picks up on Ilia's scent. He smiles then. After Ilia recovers her memory, Link and her share a moment with Epona in the Orden Spring. And what happens? They smile. Lots of smiling. Moving on. In at number 7, Link and Malin. While Link and Malin didn't have much chemistry in the games, that hasn't stopped fans from shipping them due to the non-canon manga stories that they've been featured in. The two share a moment over Lon Lon milk. Link saves Malin, to which she responds that she was waiting to be saved by a prince, and not a fairy child. But she seems quick to change her mind. She begins to ponder whether Link is her prince after all, and comes to the conclusion that he, in fact, is. Up next, number 6, Link and Ruto. Princess Ruto is Zora royalty, and we first meet her in Ocarina of Time. She's actually mentioned as a historical figure in Breath of the Wild too. So anyway, Ruto gazes at Link intently at one point in the game, causing him to fall from a tree trunk into Zora's fountain. She follows him into the water and comments that he looked cool while he was fighting. How's that for flirting? She then pulls a quick one on our hero by giving him the spiritual stone of water, or rather when you request it without knowing entirely what it does, or what it symbolizes. Turns out she kinda considers it to be a Zora engagement ring, which she later reminds him about inside the water temple, saying she never forgot the vows the two of them made 7 years ago. And at number 5, Toadette. Toadette is one of the more minor supporting characters that has managed to gain a big following. A parallel to her boyfriend Toad, Toadette is known for being sweet, optimistic, and at times, ever so slightly immature. But she's also got a lot of guts, and is a force to be reckoned with. She's appeared in 13 games to date. I guess being adorable sure has its perks. And at number 4, Birdo. Birdo is a character with quite the interesting history. She's largely considered to be the first trans character in video games. How so? Well, in her first appearance in Super Mario Bros. 2, the English manual for the game stated that Birdo, known as Ostro at the time, was a boy who, I quote, thinks he is a girl and would rather be referred to as Birdetta. Later releases of the game removed the mention of Birdetta in the manual. Various game theorists and developers over the years have noted the importance of Birdo, and have questioned whether or not the character underwent gender reassignment surgery. Reception of Birdo has always been mixed because of this, with some critics even calling Birdo one of gaming's most repelling anti-babes. On the other hand, others have noted that Birdo is just one of a long line of Japanese video game characters forced to hide their true sexual identity. All that aside, Birdo's gender doesn't change the way a lot of players feel about the character. Many still adore the cute pink dinosaur and ship Birdo and Yoshi as a romantic item. Up next, number 3, Princess Daisy. Princess Daisy is the princess for those who don't like archetypal princesses. She's a tomboy, a tough cookie, and has a thing for flowers. Like, really adores them and doesn't just think that they're pretty accessories. Daisy first appeared in Super Mario Land in 1989, and was the princess that Mario had to save. She's established more of a personality since then, being the ruler of Sarasa Land, who resides in the Mushroom Kingdom, and even became a love interest for Mario's brother Luigi. In our number 2 spot, Rosalina. A big fan favorite, Rosalina is sometimes liked more than our number 1 spot, who by this point is probably pretty obvious, but we'll get there in a minute. Rosalina, on the other hand, is appealing for being quite the independent individual. She's a sorceress, wields a ton of power, and her duties are to watch over and guard the Mushroom World, and also to protect and guard the universe. Yeah, that's no simple task. But Rosalina is definitely up to it. She first debuted in Super Mario Galaxy and since then has become a reoccurring character due to popularity, although mainly pops up in spin-off games as opposed to main titles. And to top it all off, many a fan find her outfit variations to be the sexiest of the franchise. And finally, in at number 1, Princess Peach. How could we not put Princess Peach in her number 1 spot? While she may not be the OG Mario girl, Peach has become synonymous with the franchise, and is likely one of the first characters you think of when it comes to iconic women in video games. She's appeared in more games than any other female character in video game history. First appearing in 1985's Super Mario Bros., Peach has come a long way from simply being a damsel in distress, having more agency and even becoming a playable character in main titles in the series. A mix of intelligence, stubbornness, selflessness, graciousness, and a little bit of posh princess attitude, it's not difficult to see why Peach has resonated with fans for so long.
And at number 10, Jessie and James. In the Pokemon lore, fans have dubbed this fan pairing as Rocket shipping. Jessie and James are partners in Team Rocket and therefore have a friendship that has withstood the test of time. Their ridiculously wacky schemes to steal Pikachu from Ash for their boss Giovanni has gotten these two into some pretty messy situations, but the pair have always stuck together through it all. As per the canon of Pokemon, these two are clearly meant to be seen as just co-workers who perhaps, get along really well. However, for fans of Pokemon, they are without a doubt the most popular pairing. This couple leans on the more reasonable fanships though, hence its placement in this list. In at number 9, May and Drew. Next up, we have what is commonly referred to as contest shipping. At the beginning when these two met, they were simply rivals, but fans believe May was starting to catch feelings for Drew. Even when Drew is giving May tough love, they still see it as advice coming from a place of love. People are mainly shipping these two because of the episode where May calls him Roseboy and, well, he blushes. Drew is always holding this rose as some type of calling card, or perhaps he's saving it for the right one.
Had such powerful friends, May.
Oh, we're not really friends, Harley. Most of the time, Drew just likes to make fun of me.
Oh, that can't be true or he wouldn't have given
We're not really friends, Harley.
Either way, when it comes to canon, these two are nothing but friendly rivals. I know. I don't believe it either. In at number 8, Ash and Misty. This is a confusing one for sure. In the first episode of the anime, Ash steals Misty's bike to rush Pikachu to the Pokemon Center, and after Misty tracks them down to make him pay for the bike that he destroyed, the two start hanging out together as a result. Largely the pairing is meant to be a friendship, and adding Brock into the mix often solidifies them as a friend group rather than leaving Brock as the third wheel. The show has hinted several times though that Misty has some sort of crush on him though.
By the way, are you Ash's girlfriend or what? No, I'm his coach. Then I would thank you to stay out of his personal business. You see, Ash and I have to talk about our future together.
These moments are what send fans into a frenzy of shipping the pair and what they call poke shipping. Other people throughout the wonderful world of Pokemon have also called the pair out, asking if they're a couple. More notably is whenever another potential suitor for one of them enters a scene, the other is noticeably annoyed or just jealous. Although we just can't ever see this couple getting together, as the anime still treats them as best friends and traveling companions. In at number 7, Tracy and Misty.
You're not gonna drink salt water, are ya?
Oh no, this is strictly for Pokemon research purposes.
Great.
Next up we have the orange shipping. Yes, there's a shipping name for everyone. The name comes by way of how the friendship began between these two and why fans are shipping them. Tracy had been a pretty vocal fan of Professor Oak, and upon realizing that Ash knew him well, he tagged along with the group in hopes of meeting his idol. Misty, however, was pretty sus of Tracy, this virtual stranger, joining their group, but soon the pair began a friendship when traveling through the Orange Islands, hence the name Orange Shipping. Not that creative group of fans, but hey. Although a lot of people have proposed that the canon for the Orange Island story was more of a trying to build a deeper relationship between Ash and Misty, although this hasn't stopped fans from wanting Tracy and Misty to be together. In at number 6, Ash and Iris. Nagai shipping is the belief by Pokemon fans that Ash and Iris are for sure in a romantic relationship. The first piece of evidence for this ship is when Iris starts blushing upon meeting Ash and her thanking him for saving her Pokemon even though it was clearly Oshawott that did the dirty work. I know, I'm still worked up about it. There's even a few scenes where she watches Ash's gym battle with the most googly-eyed look on her face. Although as per canon, the two are more likely bickering siblings that travel together. Iris repeatedly calls Ash a kid, which is probably more soul-crushing than just saying let's be friends or you're like a brother to me. Ouch. Ooh, God. Ooh, ah. Next point.
And at number 5, Link and Beatrice. In Skyward Sword, if you speak to the item check girl enough, she'll develop a bit of a crush on you. Turns out her name is Beatrice, and if you keep it up, she'll invite you over to her house at night. Ooh. Once you go, she'll start asking Link if he's in love with her. So yeah, things escalate really quickly. But fear not, even if you say yes, she'll think you're not ready for a relationship because of your mission. And at number 4, Link and Mipha. Mipha is one of the newer ships from Breath of the Wild, and is the princess of the Zoras during the game's timeline. She also happens to be the Zora champion. We see in flashbacks that she was a childhood friend of Link's, and was incredibly loyal to him. And during present day times, although she has passed away, her brother Sidon makes it clear that she had feelings for Link, and he was always in her heart. She makes Link a custom piece of armor, which is something Zora princesses do for the man they choose to be their husband. Did they have a thing? Maybe they had a thing. Maybe it was off screen. Up next, number 3, Link and Midna. Midna is one of the more popular ships with Link, and her first appearance was in Twilight Princess back in 2006. Aside from making snarky remarks about Link and Ilia, Midna's chemistry with Link stems from the fact that she has to team up with him to do battle with a greater evil that she couldn't defeat alone. They're opposites in a way. She has a dark nature, she's cynical, and has a mischievous sense of humor. The two get a bit physical at times too. Midna puts her hand on his cheek when asking Link to help her find the Mirror of Twilight. Link holds her in his arms after she awakens from breaking the Hyrule Castle's barrier, and the two have quite the painful goodbye. In our number 2 spot, Link and Prince Sidon. Another recent ship to come out of Breath of the Wild, and one that took the internet by storm, here we have Mipha's younger brother, Prince Sidon. His ship with Link has become ridiculously popular. If you don't ship it, you're probably at least enjoying the memes about it. So Prince Sidon is Zora royalty, and he's pretty much adored by all. He has a literal fan club in the game, he's a celebrated hero, and everyone praises him for his talent, good looks, and positive attitude, all of which Link is very privy to. This has spawned some hardcore shipping of the two characters, with a lot of fan art emphasizing their obvious side difference and the prince's abs. And finally, in at number 1, Link and Zelda. These two are as close as you can get to an actual canon relationship in the Zelda games. It's been implied many times that the two share romantic feelings for one another, stemming all the way back to the first Legend of Zelda game. At the end of the game, Zelda calls Link a true hero, and a curtain starts to fall. We see them moving closer to one another. Later, during the Oracle series, Zelda gives him a kiss on the cheek and a little heart floats above his head. The relationship grows more complex with each addition to the franchise, and more recently in Breath of the Wild, we see that Zelda, upon meeting Link, didn't like him at first. She reminds him of her own failures and feels they can't connect due to him being so stoic. He eventually saves her life, which opens up her eyes, and the two are seen throughout flashbacks bonding. There's even a moment when she wants the Great Deku Tree to give him a message, but the tree stops her, saying that it would be better to come from her. While the team behind the Zelda games haven't outright said that the two have had romantic feelings for one another, they haven't denied it either, and have stated that they are open to the possibilities and don't know what the future holds. And at number 10, Pauline. Starting off our list is the OG Mario girl, Pauline. Some of you may be scratching your heads wondering, hey, wait a sec, Pauline? Who's that? Well, let's jump back to 1981 and the very first Donkey Kong game. Remember that damsel in distress? The woman that Jumpman, later known as Mario, had to save? At the time in Japan, she was simply referred to as Lady. When the game was distributed in North America, she was given the name Pauline, named after the wife of Nintendo of America's warehouse manager, Don James. Since then, she got a makeover to help distinguish her from another Mario damsel in distress, and has reappeared in the Mario franchise many a time, primarily in spin-off games or crossover games with Donkey Kong characters, and most recently in 2017's Mario Odyssey, where she's the mayor of New Donk City. Gotta give it to Nintendo, they're never the type to forget their roots. Up next, number 9, Harriet. Speaking of Mario Odyssey, Harriet is a fairly new character who made her debut in the game last year, and she's a boss you have to take on during the mission's Inverted Pyramid Showdown and Big Brutal Battle. Harriet is from the dark side, a secret kingdom located on the moon in the game. She's often described as the kind of character you really don't want to get angry, as she has an arsenal of homemade bombs that she'll toss out at you that pack quite the punch. She's devious, and lives life on the dangerous side, keeping those set explosives and bombs on her person at all times. Up next, number 8, Vivian. Speaking of villains, Vivian is a character who was once an antagonist to Mario's, but then she decided to switch over to the side of good, probably for the best. First appearing in Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, she was a member of the Shadow Sirens, a group of sisters that came to the Mushroom World in an attempt to free their mistress, the Shadow Queen. She eventually joins Mario's party after having enough of her sister's abuse, learning to shed her inferiority complex and gain some confidence and self-respect. Vivian has had a bit of a low profile since Thousand Year Door, only appearing in one other Mario game, Super Paper Mario, with just a small cameo. In her number 7 spot, Wendy O'Koopa. Wendy is the princess of the Koopas, and the only female Koopaling. She's a singer, has a quick temper, and is a little sensitive when it comes to wealth management. In the past, she's set false coins to trick Mario. A lady of luxury, she first appeared in Super Mario Bros. 3 back in 1988, and many consider her to be the first true villainess in a Mario game. In her number 6 spot, Dixie Kong. Jumping over to another Nintendo franchise here, Dixie Kong is a character who has plenty of crossover appearances in Mario games. Or rather, 3 specifically. Mario Superstar Baseball, Mario Hoops 3-on-3, and Mario Super Sluggers. Dixie is likely the most beloved female character from the Donkey Kong series. She's energetic, adventurous, and oh so adorable. She's also the 3rd character to appear in the DK franchise after DK himself and her boyfriend Diddy, making her one of the more recognizable female additions in Nintendo's cast of characters. And hey, who doesn't love a good crossover cameo?
In at number 5, Dawn and Paul. Next up we have Ikarai shipping, I hope that's how you say it. This is the name given to the odd fan shipping of Dawn and Paul. This is one of the more popular fan ships from the Pokemon fandom, but one that we can't really get on board with. The two are polar opposites, and while opposites attract sometimes, these two just should not. For starters, Dawn is upbeat and optimistic, while Paul is the cold-hearted bad boy. Paul's so bad that he doesn't even bother trying to remember Dawn's name. Pretty hard to ship that kind of dysfunctional pairing if you ask us. Every single interaction between the two always has Dawn fawning over Paul, with Paul not really noticing any of this. I suppose you want what you can't have though. In at number 4, Ash and Jessie. This is a weird one for sure, and one fan ship that probably only exists within 1% of the Pokemon fanbase. However, a certain number of fans do believe that these two should be together for whatever reason, we have no idea. Ash is a 10-year-old kid and Jessie is clearly a grown woman that constantly calls the kid a twerp for messing up her evil plans. Ash is constantly battling with Jessie and her entire mission is to just steal his Pikachu. If anything, they should be shipping Jessie and Pikachu. Thankfully, there's a larger majority of fans that are very against this ship. In at number 3, May and Harley. Oddly enough, this one is called Cookie Shipping and it involves May and Harley. Although if the name weren't already taken, I'd say this should be contest shipping. Just saying. The two are contest rivals, but because of that, they get shipped together by fans often. Although when you look closely at their relationship, Harley hasn't been the nicest to May. He's manipulated and even cheated to win against her before, and therefore has little to no respect for May. Why does he have such disdain for her, you ask? Well, she just so happens to look like a girl who ate his food as a child. Yeah, the man holds on to grudges so much that he imposes them on people who have done nothing to him. Why fans want these two together is beyond strange, and you know what? I don't believe it either. In at number 2, Ash and Brock. In what's called Boulder shipping, there is this strange theory proposed by fans of Pokemon that Ash and Brock are lovers. Yep, just let that sink in, that's a thing that exists on the internet. What a time to be alive. Brock was the first gym leader that Ash battled while on his journey, and because he was still a rookie, he lost. And when Ash learns from Brock's father that Brock had halted his dreams to take care of his siblings, Ash starts to feel sorry for him. Then during their rematch when Ash gets the upper hand, he decides to forfeit the match, showing compassion for Brock's Onyx. Although fans took this moment of compassion to be some sort of strange love interest budding between the two, however, when it comes to canon, the anime show will most likely never even hint at this because from the beginning the relationship was meant to be a pair of traveling friends, not lovers. What? Come on guys, you gotta do better than that. Last but not least, in our number 1 spot, Ash and Pikachu. Okay, we've done some pretty weird fan ships on this list, but the most jaw-dropping has to be this one. The iconic pairing of Ash and Pikachu has been the center of many fan ships and by far is the strangest one. You think you can't believe it? We can't believe it. Although the relationship started out kind of bumpy, the two became friends fairly quick after fighting off Team Rocket. For starters, these two are a different species, and secondly, they're a different species. How could you even imagine them being a couple? Other than a trainer bonding with his Pokemon, there's not a whole lot of romantic moments between them. Plus, the height difference is a big setback, and they're different species.
Number 10. Vector the Crocodile. Some people really enjoy a good nibble when they're getting busy, but you know what's even better than a little nibble on the neck? 3,700 pounds per square inch of prehistoric power coming down on your neck. Kusha! Sure, it might be uncomfortable for some and lethal for others, but if you like it rough, I'm sure Vector would be down. Just look at all that leather. Number 9. Sonya the Hedgehog. Sonya the Hedgehog comes from Sonic Underground, and as we all know, rocker chicks are awesome. Her keyboard skills are second only to the amount of pink on her, and we all know pink is hot as hell. Plus she's a princess, so if you marry her, you're set for life. The only problem is most retailers don't accept fictional currency. Number 8. Fang the Sniper. Fang already gets some major hot points for being a cowboy because we all know cowboys are all ruggedly handsome. All of them, it's just the way it is. But he gets even hotter. How? Well, you know who played a sniper in a movie? Bradley Cooper. You know what Bradley Cooper is? Hot. That means Fang is hot. The logic is flawless. Don't worry about it. Trust me, it's good logic. It's very stable logic. I have the best logic. Nobody is as logic as I am. Number 7. Wave the Swallow. Wave is a totally cool Swallow character, and there's so much to say about her hotness. For one, her pants have flames on them, and we all know flames are hella hot. Plus she's into tech, something that we nerds tend to love. Plus those sultry eyes and long eyelashes make the fellas crazy. But most of all, her name is Wave the Swallow. Wave the Swallow.
Don't get me wrong, I like your spunk. Phrasing. Shut up!
Number 6. Jet the Hawk. Jet the Hawk is super cocky and full of himself, something that rubs some the wrong way, but can be irresistible to others. If you find yourself drawn to the bro in the skin-tight v-neck and sideways hat who picks a fight with everyone and their mother, you might enjoy Jet, as long as you can get past his voice, and the fact that he's a cartoon hawk. Number 5. Silver the Hedgehog. It's no secret that some people go crazy for older men. Silver foxes like George Clooney will always be in style, but you know what's even hotter than a silver fox? A silver hedgehog. This time-traveling hunk of a hedgehog can use his psychokinesis to drive the ladies crazy. With his incredible power, he can move you both emotionally and physically as you get lost in his brilliant golden eyes. Number 4. Shadow the Hedgehog. Everybody loves a bad boy, and Shadow is definitely the bad boy of the Sonic franchise. Looking dashing as hell with his slimming black fur, he'll zoom into your heart with the help of his air shoes. And you know what they say? Once you go black, no, I'm not gonna finish that line. Number 3. Shade the Echidna. Shade is a seductive female echidna introduced as a member of the Nocturnus clan. With a skin-tight black suit and luscious brown quills, this saucy combination of Sonic and Tron is dressed to impress. And the best part? Shade eventually changed sides when she learned what her clan was really doing. So she goes both ways. Number 2. Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, this list would not be complete without the title character. Sonic has broken many a heart, hedgehog and human alike, and even though he likes to run fast, he takes his relationships slow. You know, he'll respect your wishes, and when the time is right, you can look into those green eyes, stroke his blue quills, and say, "Hey baby, you have a chili dog for me?" And then it's on. And even though he likes to go fast, you will yeah, well, you know where I'm going with that. Number 1. Elise. Guys, it's a human, a female human. Finally, I can drop the sarcasm for a minute to say that she actually is an attractive character. Obviously, she's pretty young, but hell, she's older than most people playing the game anyway, certainly older than I was in 06. I won't go into detail about why I find her attractive, because creepy, but I think we can all agree that she's pretty cute. Plus, she's royalty, so I'd probably marry her for her money alone. And to reiterate from earlier, this is based on an 18-year-old version of her. Take that, Chris Hansen. Number 10. Shad Amy. Shad Amy is fairly often thrown around, even if it isn't the most supported. It started out after their scene in Sonic Adventure 2 when she begs Shadow to help them. The thing is, there aren't really any lines in that scene or elsewhere that makes the two seem romantically inclined. Hell, he isn't even doing it for her, he's doing it for Maria. This one's a bit of a stretch, and it's mostly thrown around by people as a counter to the whole Saw and Amy thing. More on that later. Number 9. Sylvaze. The relationship between Silver and Blaze has been thrown around since Sonic 06. Obviously, all the interactions and the closest we saw in the game led many people to see the two as an item. Even though, spoilers, the story was reset at the end, a lot of people support the idea that they would have wistful amnesia where their feelings remain even if the memories are gone. This one's probably more likely than Sonae's, but some believe that Blaze sees Silver more like a brother than a love interest. Who knows? Number 8. Taerim. This is one that is made more likely by default simply because Tails and Cream at 8 and 6 are two of the youngest Sonic characters. Not gonna lie, there are a bunch of ships involving these two that make me super uncomfortable, but at least with Taerim they're shipped with someone roughly their age. Just as long as they keep things PG, because again, they children and cartoon animals, but let's not get bogged down in the details. Number 7. Sonato. Here we go, the first of the slash ships for this list. For the uninitiated, slash ships involve same-sex relationships. This one honestly has pretty much no evidence at all. It's mostly supported because Sonic and Shadow are the two male characters seen as most attractive by the people who find Sonic characters attractive. Sure, they have a bit of a rivalry, but that seems to be exactly what it is. A rivalry. No sexual tension needed. Number 6. Sonails. Here's another slash ship for the slashers lovers out there. This one's a bit more, how shall I put it, pedophilic. Some shippers claim that the close friendship Sonic and Tails have had over the years is more than a mere friendship. They're in love. These people say that the admiration Tails has for Sonic and the dedication they show to each other means that they're in a relationship. Just a few problems with this. A, they're not gay and definitely just friends, and B, Tails is frickin' 8 years old, so stop it! Number 5. Marine the Raccoon. There isn't a ton of diversity in Sonic, most of them sound pretty American, but not Marine. As the only raccoon among the lead cast, as well as the only Australian sounding one, as far as I know, she's super unique. And of course, Australian accents are crazy hot. The only problem with her is that raccoons spend far too much time waiting around in garbage, so you should probably start your date off with a quick swim. Number 4. Honey the Cat. Wasn't sure if I'd put Honey or Marine in this spot. What tipped the scales was cleanliness. Cats are awfully clean, grooming themselves all the time. Raccoons, on the other hand, are all up in garbage all the time. So, given a choice between a nice clean cat and a smelly trash panda, I think I'll go with the kitty cat. Plus, you know, she's cute and friendly and all that, but mostly it's the garbage thing. Number 3. Metal Sonic. Wait, what? Yes, Metal Sonic. Sometimes you don't want to worry about wishy-washy feelings, you just want something physical. Well, that's perfect for Metal Sonic since he doesn't have emotions. Plus, think of all the mods you could put on him. He could fulfill any desire you have, provided said desire doesn't require flesh. Number 2. Ugandan Knuckles. That's right, it's the meme sensation himself. I don't think I need to tell you why Ugandan Knuckles is a babe. Those big, beautiful, outward-facing eyes, the round body, the arms sticking out so far. Not to mention the fact that he definitely knows the way. Truly breathtaking. I'll be your queen, Ugandan Knuckles. You can spit all over me. Number 1. Rosie the Rascal. Found a loophole. Amy was listed in Kelly's video, but not her evil counterpart from the comics, Rosie the Rascal. And since a lot of people were yelling for Amy last video, this should appease some of you. Rosie the Rascal is definitely unstable, which might scare a few off, but some people just love a crazy gal who does whatever the heck she wants while wearing a yellow tutu. Plus, she definitely knows how to handle a hammer. And as we learned in Dr. Horrible,
the hammer is my penis.
Number 10. Dr. Robotnik. You know what's possibly the hottest body shape anyone can have? Egg-shaped. Oh baby, Eggman's sexy ovoid body drives me wild. The mere thought of him lowering his bulky frame onto me sends shivers down my spine. What a fox. Number 9. Knuckles the Echidna. Who doesn't want a big, strong echidna to take care of them? This beefy member of the Sonic Squad can handle any problem you may have. Just don't ask him to do your taxes. Knuckles has red fur, and obviously red is the color of love, so he has that going for him. He's also a staunch feminist, well versed on subjects such as gender roles.
You know, Amy, anytime someone calls attention to the breaking of gender roles, it ultimately undermines the concept of gender equality by implying that this is an exception and not the status quo.
Plus, just look at the size of his hands. You know what they say about people with big hands? They have big gloves. Number 8. Tiara the Manx. Tiara was supposed to be a feline character in Sonic X-treme and Sonic Mars. Sadly, the games ended up being scrapped, but she was intended to be a love interest for Sonic who could match his spunk and energy. She has a real Lola Bunny thing going with that crop top, and we all know Lola Bunny is a babe. Plus, her last name was going to be Boobowski. She has boob right in her name. How hot is that? Number 7. Espio the Chameleon. Espio is one of the most versatile entries on this list. As we know, some people don't like people of a different skin color. Not a problem for Espio. Well, maybe a moral issue, but not a logistical problem. He can change color to suit your needs, so even racists can appreciate him. Sure, he can be a bit hot-headed at times, but if you make it past that hard exterior, you can bask in the warm, scaly comfort of his reptilian arms. Number 6. Vanilla the Rabbit. Vanilla is an anthropomorphic rabbit and mother of Cream. She's very kind and takes great care of her daughter, and there's nothing hotter than a good mother. Plus, you know, she's an adult, which is a big plus in my books. Careful though, with all the times he's kidnapped her, it seems like Eggman has his eye on her too. And considering what a tasty dish he is, you're in for the fight of your life if you want to win her over. Number 5. Tails Rouge. Damn it, I said stop with the Tails ships! Okay, fine. Yeah, a lot of people try to ship Tails with Rouge. Rouge is shipped all the time because she's so damn flirty. Some point to her kissing him on the cheek and the rivalry they share as flyers as evidence that they're into each other. But it seems a lot more like a big sister or little brother relationship to me. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. Number 4. Shadouge. Shadouge is definitely one of the pairings that's kind of too easy. People basically just use the fact that they're both kinda anti-heroic and brooding to say that they should date. But really, the two don't seem to have any special feelings towards each other other than the odd smile or smirk. Yeah, I don't really buy this one. But you know a more likely ship? Number 3, Knuckzooge. The ship of Knuckles and Rouge is definitely among the more popular, and possibly one of the more likely. They have a real Batman and Catwoman thing going, which is kind of ironic since Rouge is the one who's the Bat. Knuckles is the honorable person fighting for what's right, while Rouge is the seductive thief out to get his goat. And in this case, his goat is his Master Emerald. People point to their flirtiness and their married couple squabbles as evidence that they're into each other, but to be fair, Rouge flirts with everyone. Number 2, Sonali. Here's one that was actually canon in Sat AM and the Archie comics, so it definitely has to be on here. Nowadays they seem to be just friends, but this doesn't stop the shippers, many of whom claim that the pair is still very much an item. I'm not so sure about this one. I get that pre-Genesis wave they were together and Sat AM was a big part of many a childhood, but they seem to just be friends now. But there's still one big Sonic ship left. Number 1, Sonami. This one definitely had to be number 1. Not only is it the most often referenced, but it's probably the most likely to. Everyone knows that Amy's definitely up for it, but there is some doubt cast about Sonic. The thing is though, Sonic headquarters confirmed in an interview with Disney Adventures magazine that he does like her, he's just too shy. Some anti-Son Amy folks say the person being interviewed didn't know what they were talking about, but I think I'll take their word for it for now.